Ooh. Hello and welcome to Simon Says Artwork. This is the 29th instalment of the Inktober challenge. I'm going to be working in my little black sketchbook, drawing with my left hand and using my Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen. And the subject is going to be this egg timer that I've got ticking. Okay, let's get started. Well, here it is, number 29 for the Learning to Draw with My Left Hand challenge. And picking this item has been something which I haven't considered until just now, and as soon as I saw it, I thought this is definitely the object that I want to draw. I was immediately happy with how close to a good circle that was. Considering it's my left hand, I thought it would be much more tricky than that. And even doing a circle around the circle was much closer than I anticipated. To be honest, I think I'm actually drawing circles better with my left hand than I do with my right. That's possibly because I do have a fracture in my left wrist, so that maybe helps me lock my position a bit better, I'm not sure. But yeah, either way, strange and appreciated. Beyond that, I started to try and break down some of the shapes, and they never turn out exactly like the object is. I always think I'm going to get much closer than I actually do, and things get shrank and squashed and elongated, and all sorts of different things change. And I suppose that all depends on what your focus where your focus aims or ends, I suppose. And my focus must have taken me to certain places where things got shrank down a bit. The top part, I tried to put a bit of perspective on one side and ended up taking it back away. We'll get to that in a little while, but I do start to draw the top part now, so I think it should be soonish. It starts off straight, and then here I draw an angle. Oh no, I draw it straight on that side and an angle on the other side. And I shouldn't have. I draw an angle there, you see that? But I end up taking that away. And the little winding thing at the top, I had to kind of alter where that is and change how it looked a little bit, just because I drew it wrong. And it is just a lack of control with my left hand. If one side is showing, then the other side shouldn't be, and I've done both sides as if it's showing. That's the type of thing I could have just not said and suggested that I've drawn it really well, but I'd rather just be completely honest and say that was a mistake. But it's not a huge mistake, it didn't make the biggest difference. This is another mistake here, is drawing these screws, because I hadn't realised that the two screws in the top here are centred in a circle at the top, and if I would have drawn the circle first, I would have found it easier to place the screws in a more accurate position. But there we are. Some of this was more of a struggle than other parts, really. But there are bits which I remember drawing before, so I tried to take advantage of my memory of certain aspects of this design. But it wasn't much, I must admit. I don't fully remember it, because the first time I drew this was with biros and marker pens, and it was really scribbly, but it turned out quite nice. Much more characterful than my drawings usually are, and I think it's because the marker pens were really dry and on the last legs, and the biros are only a small nib. That was me trying to do an inside line going around, and this was really tricky, so this didn't work out very well. But there we are. There, it has got a kind of square on the inside of the lid. I say the inside, on the top of the lid. It's got a square within the boundaries of the top. Now at the moment, to be honest, the angle doesn't look too bad, but I know I end up changing the angle at the top, but it doesn't look too bad. This is that circle that I mentioned a minute ago, and if I would have drawn this first before the screws, then I could have put the screws within that circle, which is where they are actually positioned. One of the many mistakes that end up occurring. I could have done them again, to be honest, because I do this almost what looks like a doily design, but that's what happens on the top of the lid. And yeah, it's all just trying to salvage what I can, really. But there we are. I'm not trying to be too down on the drawing. It's just because I do like this drawing. I just think certain parts I could tell that I was really struggling to pull it together. But there we are. Some of these swirls down here are not the most accurate, but they are honestly what I was trying to see clearly. And because this egg timer is a bit dusty and old, it's hard to make out what the design is doing. The light was quite low because of the way that I filmed these. Is the light that's on the sketchbook at the moment is from a monitor, and all the other lights are off in my bedroom, and basically the monitor is on a playlist which has been made full screen. So the playlist is not quite white, but it's light enough that it lights up the desk space, and because I'm drawing in front of the monitor, that's how I light these drawings for every single one, just because otherwise you can sometimes get shadows cast in weird places. And you can see how there's shadows being cast from my hand from being lit from the lower right hand side. Can you see the shadow being cast on my hand that's on the actual book there? You can see it's like the shadows are going over to the top left, and that's because I had my ring light set up just so that I could see the clock better. By the clock I mean the egg timer. It has got a clock on it, obviously. And these numbers was something which on the fly I decided to do quite abstract, because I thought there's no way I'm going to get these numbers looking nice. And I didn't, but I thought, even though I'm drawing them much bigger than they actually are, I just tried to get them as close to their position as possible, and something where you can kind of tell what the number is, but it can be a bit abstract. And I don't mind the abstraction, because it's not important. Once you see a couple of numbers, the other ones are either visible or not, but whatever. So, excuse me. So I was kind of, just again struggling to get through this section, because I just thought, oh, this is tricky. I'm running out of space, and it's because I, did them too large, really. But there we are. I think they're quite interesting, and even though they're larger than they should be, I think I kind of get away with it. I could be wrong, I don't know, but I think I kind of get away with it. And it's not the worst part of it. I mean, I think that it's something which in the future, if I was to draw this again, I'd probably try to be a bit more careful with it. But part of me thinks, well, it's ink first and it's with your left hand, and it's not the worst thing in the world, but yeah, I don't know. I get away with it. It's not the worst thing. I don't know. I'm just looking at it going, ugh, it just makes me cringe just looking at how crushed together some of them are, or squashed together, I should say, and how some of the others are given enough space and larger, and then certain numbers have to shrink. But whatever, that's what happens when you wing it like I'm doing on this. I'm saying this as though my other drawings are so well plotted out. I do need to start doing more professional drawings in the future, because a lot of my drawings are doodles like this. And I think it's because part of me really wishes that I could have that type of freedom to do rough and doodle-like drawings as a career. I would love that. If I was good enough at doing it, where people were paying me to do doodles, I would love the freedom to do that. But because I'm just not quite there yet, I think it's something where I'm just trying to build up my portfolio and my experience and my confidence. I mean, I've been drawing for years, but not all my life. So I think it's all just, I've had moments where I've been more confident than I am now, and my confidence has been shaken by different things that have occurred. And this is trying to build it back up with experience and with muscle memory. So it's getting there. It's something where I don't think it's terrible, but yeah. And then again here, I try to put in letters, and it's just a struggle because there's no measuring, there's no marking it. It's just, let's just go in, do parts of the letters and see if I can get all the letters to fit on the banner. And if not, who cares? I've done my best to try to make it look half decent. And that's what I'm up to. And it's a struggle. It's a real struggle to do this type of thing. It's not easy. But I think, even though I missed the S off the end, I managed to get in enough letters to make it look fairly legitimate. I think it's Sanderson, it says, and it's actually in the real thing it says Sandersons. But there we are. It's not the worst thing. I keep saying that. It's not the worst thing. It is. It's kind of, it's passable. It's acceptable. And then, just trying to get certain bits of details that I just noticed after the fact, and not minding because the amount of detail that I've got in there so far I think looks half decent. And I like the fact that the numbers are quite heavy and the other lines are fairly light. So I tried to get some other bits of flourishes and details on the side which are truly there, but I don't do an amazing job of rendering anything really decorative. But it's good enough where I think, it's passable. I'm going to do a line for the top of the lid, and then because there's so much space at the bottom, because my placement was just terrible, I decided to write what the actual object is. And immediately, because I'm writing with my left hand, I get the proportions wrong. So I correct the first letter and make another mistake where I don't have the spacing correct. So I make the other E match the first one with a mistake in there on purpose. And there we are. That is the labelling of the subject. And that's it. Okay, so that's the drawing done. Now, I think that it worked out okay. I quite like what I've got here. Doesn't look too dissimilar from the egg timer. I think the main details are in there. I had it tipped like that so that I could see it on a bit of a perspective. And I got some of the details in line work there at the bottom. It's not the first time I've drawn it. I did do it once before. I think it was just called Ink First Still Life or something. I'll leave the link here. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, share this with any friends or family who you think might enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.